It's Sunday, which means it's Enter the Abyss Day.
Sunday fun day. So tonight we are drinking Solid Gold
from Founders.
And this is actually, I just opened it, and it's really thick. It's Velveeta cheese.
Oh, God.
You don't like Velveeta?
No.
It's so good.
I mean, maybe if it's in something, but like drinking a can of Velveeta just makes me
Yeah,
cringe.
that's probably gross. I
Especially
actually had to
warm.
heat these up so we could actually drink them, because they're actually solid if it's cold. So today, I actually made my first Philly cheesesteak.
Oh, is that what's half eaten on the counter?
Yeah.
So it wasn't that good because it's only half eaten.
No, it was a lot. Like, I bought a giant-ass ribeye steak, and I cut it in little pieces.
Nice.
Freaking got a baguette.
Did you go to Costco and buy like the 10-pounder?
No.
Oh.
But yeah, onions, mushrooms, and then I got the Velveeta American cheese. Jesus Christ, man. If that is wrong, I don't want to be right.
It's funny. You're like, I'm just going to describe a Philly cheesesteak. And you described a Philly cheesesteak.
It was so good. It was so good.
Well, I'm glad you liked it. We had, I made nachos. My wife made homemade carne asada the other day, and I made nachos this afternoon. Oh, so good.
I'll say one thing about Utah. Excellent Mexican food, in my opinion.
Yeah. I heard that Texas has really good Mexican food.
Texas sucks.
I mean, you're editing that.
Yeah, a bunch of Texan hoes. That's what we call them.
I hope you edit that out because you alienate a lot of people.
I know.
We want to get big one day and we're going to get under fire.
No, just have a shirt that says,
Cleet hates everyone but himself and money.
I love money. It's probably something stupid I did today. Okay. Spur of the moment. I bought Coinbase stock. Its IPO came out.
Like Bitcoin?
So it's an app where you can actually buy Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. You buy and sell it. And you can actually send it to other wallets. I think it's pretty cool. I could either lose a ton of money on it, or I can make money on it. We'll see what happens.
Nice. I bought some groceries today.
Oh, yeah. You're going to resell it maybe, make some money?
Yeah, I bought a can of Velveeta, and I might sell that again later to the guy down the street. Really likes Velveeta.
I heard in Promontory Point, they put in a Velveeta spike in the railroad.
Okay.
Are we done? Was that a bad joke?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I guess. I put in a new mailbox today, though.
What was wrong with your old mailbox?
Everyone kept running over it.
Are you serious? Is that
a
problem?
Hit like 3 times.
Oh.
It was like an old plastic piece of shit, and like we were doing the yard, and like my father-in-law backed into it on accident. My brother-in-law backed into it. I think I backed into it on accident, and it was just too close to the street. So we like dug a huge hole. We cemented this one in with like 260 pounds of cement. It's not going anywhere, but it looks really nice.
Have you ever smashed a mailbox with a baseball bat?
No, I don't participate in illegal activities.
Neither have I.
Yeah, so what are you talking about today, Cleet?
Topics tonight, we're going to do somewhat short stories. I got some stories off of Reddit from the Let's Not Meet forum, so it's about creeps and freaks that people run into.
Wow. So like you're a prior house owner.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about some of the craziest crimes to ever be committed in retail stores. Why don't you kick us off with one of yours?
Okay. So the title of this is, I Just Wanted to Check the Discount Sign. This story takes place in November 2017. I was 18. I'm a very short girl, only 4'10", and I get anxious when someone even looks at me in a way that suggests they might not like me. Kind of reminds me of you, Britton. A 4'10" woman.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that's right on, and 18. Yeah.
So needless to say, I'm incredibly non-confrontational. My friends and I were out shopping. It was something we do maybe every few months, just to bond, since we did not have much time to hang out due to college. She's just like me, barely scraped, 5'1", and very non-confrontational. It's probably why we became friends. On every shopping trip, we found ourselves in Ann Summers. Never heard of that place, have you?
Nope.
Okay.
It's probably too fancy for my blood.
Yeah. We're both overly endowed.
Wow.
And struggle to find bras anywhere to use.
Is this like a key part of the story?
It's like, they're just gonna keep
like
talking
this is
about
just
that.
like way too like in like. I mean, I like to know about your personality and stuff, but it's like we got huge breasts.
Thank you, God. That's probably what she's saying. And Ann Summers always had great sales, so we'd grab at the cheap bras while we could. The shopping trip wasn't any different. We browsed shops until we got to Ann Summers. But that's when things took a bit of a turn.
Oh, foreshadowing.
I'd barely stepped into the shop when a woman with some sort of Slavic accent stopped me. Her finger jammed into my chest. She said, "Spit the gum out," she demanded.
There's no gum in this store.
Assuming she was an employee, I gave a very sheepish, "I'm really sorry," and I ran out of the shop to spit the gum out and threw it away.
I would have been like, excuse me?
Yeah, right.
Like, get the hell out of my face, first of all. Poke me again, I'm going to break your finger in half.
When I went back in, I realized that this woman was not an employee. She was a customer who was browsing and happened to be near the door when my friend and I entered the shop.
So she's a Karen. She's just an asshole Karen shopper.
Yeah, super weird.
Spit the gum out. I just spit it in her hair.
I just spit it right in her face.
There you go.
There you go, lady. It should have been obvious to me at the time, no salesperson would behave like that. Not one that wanted to keep their job anyway.
Or make a sale. Spit the gum out. Hey, how about these jeans?
Spit your goddamn gum out.
I work on commission, goddammit. Buy some stuff.
I've always hated, like, if you ever worked in customer service and, like, you can't chew gum. Like, why?
Yeah.
Always bothered me. Is it really going to bother you if you go to a Wendy's and the cashier lady's chewing gum?
I mean, if she's like
Yeah, but nobody does
smacking
that.
it. But I wouldn't like ask her to get rid of it. I'd just be like in my head like, that's really fucking annoying.
Would you just go, "Moo, you look like a cow"?
No. I'd be like, spit your gum out.
Okay.
Because you do that in retail, you're gonna get it in your burger. She's like, I'll spit it out right into your French fries. That's why you don't mess with people doing your food.
Amen. But I kept my head down when I walked past her, holding my breath in hopes she wouldn't have noticed me again. She didn't, and I thought I was in the clear. My friends and I browsed the shop, trying to avoid the woman. But the shop wasn't very big, probably only 15 feet by about 18 feet. So eventually, I ended up at the sales stand by the door where she had been stood. That was tough, where she was at originally. I tried to keep my distance while browsing. I was looking at the price tags, but realized I didn't know what the discount was. Okay, so she's close to the person is what she's saying in the story. Okay.
She's close to where she was stooding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I leaned over slightly to check the discount sign. It's important that I note that this woman had a pushchair, which is a stroller for you stupid Americans.
Is that really what it says?
No, it just says Americans.
Oh, I was like, wow, okay. I mean, okay, that's fair.
God bless the queen. You'd think that she maybe had a child in this pushchair, but no, it was full of plastic carrier bags.
Wow. Cuckoo.
I didn't look too much at it, but I could tell that everything in there was double bagged and tied shut.
It's a bunch of gum.
It's
Just collecting gum from everybody.
Spit in my bag.
Spit the gum
This
out
is where the
right
gum
now.
belongs.
I'm going to sell it.
What is it? Gum in bags plus question mark equal profit.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever was in those bags, she wanted to protect. This sense of protection became very relevant because when I leaned over to take a look at the discount sign, I was leaning slightly closer to her pushchair. It was still about 3 feet away from it, but apparently this was too close. The woman was on the other side of the chair, but the moment she saw me, she ran around it to where I was, and she hit me in the face.
Oh my God. She just straight up assaulted her.
Yeah, straight up. I wish it, like, was it a punch? Was it a slap? I'd like to know.
She hit me. Like, I think the hit implies a punch. Like, closed fist to the fucking face. Punch. Mike Tyson.
The old left hook.
She got roundhoused.
Roadhouse. It was somewhere between a slap and a punch. Oh, okay.
We needed one more sentence and our questions were
I didn't
irrelevant.
even read it.
It's like, be patient.
You see, Britain?
It's like, what is it? We're like speculating and then it was this. Oh, well, shit.
I couldn't quite tell because I was in shock. All I knew is that it hurt.
So like a slap and a punch, does that mean like she just curled the first knuckles and like did like a bear paw type thing?
Yeah, maybe.
Like, whoosh.
Yeah. Slap in the front, punch in the back.
Wow.
Watch the personal space, she hissed in my ear.
So this, I'm being to be honest, like this lady's going to get knocked the fuck out. Like she's annoying. Spit your gum out. Watch your space. And like after being hit,
She said she's non-confrontational.
you get hit in the face, you can turn that way quick. Like that's an invitation to
It's
hit
too
back.
bad she didn't have a baby because you can't hit someone who's holding a baby.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I don't think this girl would have cared either way. She probably would have hit the baby too. Your baby's kind of close to my plastic bags.
So, what she did? Well, she apologized to her. This woman just hit her, and she apologized.
Oh, so the girl who got hit apologized.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
First person. I regret it now, but at the time, I didn't want to provoke her any further. Not that I knew what I did to provoke her in the first place.
Apparently just existing is provoking this woman.
In shock, I turned around and ran to the back area, grabbing my friend's hand and pulling her with me. The back area was separated by a tiny wall that only stretched halfway across the shop, since they stored the adult toys. Oh, that's your section, Britton.
What the fuck? It's like Spencer, so you go behind the beaded wall.
You just hear giggling back there. I don't know. And they wanted to keep that area out of sight of the general public. I stood there holding my friend's hand and shaking as I whispered, "She just hit me," to my friend. We stood there for a good minute in silence. My friend was positioned in a way that she could see the rest of the store while I hid behind the wall. "She's gone," my friend told me. I let out a breath that I didn't know I was holding. "Can we just stay here for a while?" I asked my friend, worried that the woman would be waiting outside for me. The front of the store was open, but she could have easily just been a couple of feet down the road and out of sight, waiting for me to leave.
She's like crouched behind the corner like
she made an enemy.
"Come out, buddy. Come out. I'm going to hit your kneecap.
Chewing gum in a store that I'm shopping in.
How dare you walk in my area?"
My friend agreed, and we slowly browsed the shop again. About 5 minutes later, we got to the counter to check out. The girl working the counter looked outside and then back at us. "That woman had been in there for 30 minutes. I didn't know what to do," she told the two of us. "What did she say to you?"
Where'd this accent come from?
I don't know. "She told me to spit out my gum when we first came in, and then she hit me because I was too close to her."
I wonder if all the bags are full of those adult toys. She's like sneaking them from the back.
It's just a bunch of dildos.
Those rubber hands.
"She hit you?" The worker was wide-eyed. "If I had known that, I would have called security. I'm so sorry." I smiled and shrugged. "It's fine." It wasn't really fine, but it wasn't the worker's fault.
Say she's not confrontational. It's all good.
It's okay. I deserved it.
I get hit every day.
There's two sides to every story.
Maybe I farted in front of her. I don't remember.
She didn't look much older like I did, and it wouldn't have known what to do in that situation either. Still shaken up, my friend and I made our way out of the store. I looked around but didn't see the woman. "Can we go home now?" I asked my friend. We hadn't finished browsing all the shops, but I was so paranoid that we'd bump into the woman again. She agreed, and we got the bus home. When I got home, my parents encouraged me to report the incident to the police. I called the non-emergency line, and their answer was basically, "Well, what do you expect us to do about it?"
She's like, "I'm so sorry.
I got slapped in the store. I got slapped silly.
I got punched like 3 days ago in the store for busty women."
Unless I went back to the Ann Summers and requested the security footage, which I wasn't sure if they actually had, they wouldn't do anything. It's been just over 3 years, and now I'm sure that the woman was likely to have been homeless and or on drugs. It's the only explanation I can think of for the carrier bags and her protectiveness. It was either everything she owned or drugs, or both. So to the possible homeless, possibly drugged up woman who hit me, I hope that your current state of the world is treating you well, and you are finally getting that personal space you wanted. But let's not meet again. So I wanted to put in a little bit of a plug for this. What made me actually want to look this up is I used to go to the University of Utah. And I remember one particular day I was coming back, and for whatever reason, maybe it was like a test in the afternoon. It wasn't like normal hours, so there wasn't a lot of students on campus. I was walking to the tracks because, poor. I'm just kidding. No, dude, like those parking passes were expensive.
Colleges will get you wherever they can.
So, when you get to the tracks, you got to wait for a little bit. It's like our public transportation. So I'm waiting there like maybe about 10 minutes, and this lady comes up to me, and she doesn't like look homeless, but she looks disheveled. And she like, of all the places, like I'm all by myself because there are no students on campus. She walks up to me where I'm sitting, just kind of stands there. and I can like smell her. She smells bad. And then she goes, "Hey, I need you to read this." And I'm like, all right, let's see what this is. So I pick it up. It's like
Pulls out a Bible.
Laminated. Okay. And I start to read it. And you could tell there was like the thought process on how she was writing was really bad. But the general gist of it, if you could make sense of whatever this it was really jumbled words. It was like about how the therapist was evil and out to get her. And I remember I was like reading the first 3 sentences. I'm like, oh my God, what am I getting myself into? And I just gave it back to her. And it was funny, like every once in a while I would see her later on the tracks and she would try to hand it back to me. Will you read this? I'm like, no. And like I could tell other people knew her because I saw her do it to a group of people. And they're like, no, lady, we won't read your manifesto.
That's when you just like start reading it back to her like from memory. Like, I know what your stupid card says.
I'm with your therapist. We're in collusion. We're out to get you. Run.
Find her therapist's name. I'm with Julie on this one.
That is horrible. Anyways.
Yeah, it's funny. I think I might have shared this story, a while ago. But we were on tracks as well, my wife and I and some friends, and we stopped at one of the stops that they made us get off because I guess that down the way there'd like been a derail like on the tracks.
Oh my God.
And so we're standing there and it's snowy and it's really cold, and this guy walks up to us. He's shirtless and he's covered in blood, like he'd just been in this horrible fight. And he's like, "Don't call the cops! Don't call the cops!" So we're like, "Okay." And he keeps trying to like talk to us, and we're just standing there like, "Don't associate with us at all." And he's just covered in blood. And he's like, "Don't call the cops! Don't call the cops!" So we got on the train and obviously called the cops because this guy's covered in blood. It's like, yeah, you know, I want to go check it out. So that was kind of fun.
You know what I would have done in that situation? Like legitimately,
What?
I'd have been like, "Hey, no problem. I will not call the police, but hey, I'm gonna step away. You know, you do your thing," and then I'd call the cops on them.
Yeah. It's like, I don't want my blood to be mixed with whoever's blood's on you.
You can count on me, man. I will not call the cops on you. We are good bros.
If I could call anyone in the world, the cops are the last people I'd call. I promise. Don't dial 911. Is that it for...
Yeah.
Well, that's crazy. So, like, she literally just went into a store to shop, got assaulted, and then that's it?
Yeah.
All right, so on to some crime and some good old retail. We're going to start with Chili's. I think everyone's been to a Chili's. You've been to a Chili's, right?
Yeah, dude, their sauce is legit.
Their queso sauce?
No, it's just their salsa.
Oh, salsa.
Yeah.
I guess it's sauce. Yeah, their queso sauce is really good. So this is about a man named William Wood, and he's no stranger at the Chili's in DeWitt, New York.
Yeah.
There's probably people listening to it like, shit, I know that Chili's. But in the early morning of September 15th, 2018, he didn't enter the restaurant working his shift. He had returned to rob his former employer. Dun, dun,
Probably
dun.
not a good idea.
No, not at all. Especially like in the morning. Early morning. Like that's something you do at night. I mean, I'm not a robber, but I mean, it just makes more sense. Once inside, he held 4 of his one-time colleagues at gunpoint, ordering them to lie on the floor. Then he forced the manager and father of 2, named Stephen Gudnick, who was 37, to hand over a whopping $875 from a safe.
He's like, "Everything's not good in the neighborhood." And the guy's like, "That's an Applebee's quote."
Fuck! Fuck!
I was working on that all night.
What's your catchphrase? Like that sings the baby back ribs. Chili's.
Baby back.
But he asked for $875. Like, if you're robbing a place, like, what are you gonna do with $875? Like, how desperate are you?
I don't know, man. He's probably drugs.
Like, probably. I remember working at Quiznos when I was younger, right out of high school, and like we'd put the safe away, and there's like a couple $100, but never was I like, oh, I'm gonna steal those hundreds of dollars. Like, if I'm gonna steal, I'm gonna go big, like a bank heist,
All right.
or you. I'm going to break into your safe.
My Fidelity account?
Yeah, I'm going to break into your Fidelity account. Police say Wood shot Goodnick in Chili's and another Chili's employee, Christopher Hicks, 29, in the head. Wood is also said to have aimed his gun at a female employee, but had fled after the weapon jammed. Man, that's lucky for her that it jammed. A male employee was also able to escape the restaurant as well. Sucks for those other 2, though. The female employee called 911 and held Goodnick's hands as he lay dying. Jesus Christ. Paramedics transported Hicks to a local hospital where he died. Wood pled guilty and was sentenced to life in prison without parole. In September 2018, 4 additional people were arrested in connection with the case, with charges ranging from driving Wood's getaway car to buying his weapon.
He had accomplices?
He had someone else buy his gun for him. Like, dude, go buy me a gun.
Hey, buy me a
You
gun. That'd be
drive me
so
away from
funny.
there.
The FBI won't let me get one.
That's so stupid. As of April 2019, the United States Justice Department is pursuing the death penalty against Wood. Wow. That's sad. It's very sad. Ooh, this one's about Denny's. A newlywed Denny's manager was shot dead despite reportedly complying with Robert's demands.
I've had a lot of sad memories in Denny's.
Yeah, I bet. Denny's is not a place where happiness is. At first, when I read the article, I thought it was like a newlywed couple, but no, it's just a newlywed Denny's manager. That sucks, dude. You just barely got married.
I got promoted.
He's like, I got the manager spot. We're getting married. Cyrus Salehi, the Denny's employee working the graveyard shift at a Los Angeles area on February 13th, 1996, just achieved a number of goals.
He's like the cop in the movie The Trope. He's like, he's just about to retire in 3 weeks. He's going to get his pension. And he gets shot. And like, why?
Or it's like a big case he always wanted lands on his desk. And it's like the biggest break. Gets shot. Wife cries at the end. He's got like a litter of children.
Yeah.
It's always that way. The 38-year-old had recently acquired partial ownership of the Reseda location. Salehi had also married his girlfriend of 2 years only 11 months prior. I guess 11 months ago is still newlywed. I mean, is that after the first year or something?
Yeah.
But in the pre-dawn hours of that winter morning, Salehi's life would be cut short over a few $100s.
And an omelet.
Yeah. Sunny side up, please. Police say that Ruben Lopez, who is 20, entered the restaurant brandishing a gun. Salehi reportedly complied with the demands, handing over roughly $400 from the cash register. Lopez is said to have still fatally shot the Denny's manager in the chest. See, it's like there's people in the world who just don't care. Like, there's nothing to lose.
Yeah, it's not GTA, people, man. It's not GTA.
The Los Angeles Times reported that both Lopez and his getaway driver, Samuel Martinez, who was 19, were convicted of Salehi's murder and sentenced to life without the possibility of parole.
Oh, it's too bad.
There's like a lot of like tiny, like, just wait out the front. I'm going to come in. We're going to drive away. Like,
I'm kind of curious, like, back to the Chili's guy. So, like, I wonder what his last meal will be. Do you think, like, he'll choose Applebee's just to spite Chili's?
It's not a question I was really thinking about, but I mean, you have a good point. I don't know. What would your last meal be?
I'd probably, like, if I had to pick from a restaurant, I think I might pick from Moochie's or Philly cheesesteak. Really
Are you
good.
serious? That's for your last meal.
Yeah.
You're going some greasy-ass cheesy sandwich.
Yeah.
You're like, just give me a cup of Velveeta and a spoon, please.
Liquid gold.
I do like a big country dinner, man. Like a big country fried chicken with
you
mashed
get a
potatoes and gravy. I'm sure you can get a beer.
Really?
I'd have like a 12-pack of beer.
I don't
just want a
think they'd
12-pack.
limit it to a beer. That'd be cool. Like,
I mean,
one beer.
I think that would limit like your fear of dying.
A
You're
beer and a
just totally
cigarette.
drunk. You're just like, ha, 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 ha. Dead.
If I'm shaking, it's because I'm shivering. Electric chair.
God damn, dude. All right, Cleet, take it away with your next one.
All right. A woman has it out for me because she thinks I'm her sworn enemy.
God damn.
Danny Trejo. One afternoon, I walked to my local corner store for some smokes, about a 7-minute walk. If you're really taking your time, pretty close to his place. As I was exiting the store, a woman approached me and politely asked for a cigarette. Okay, all right. She was gorgeous. Super short hair. Looked a lot like the woman who played Claire Underwood from House of Cards. Super lean, great shape, well kempt. Couldn't be older than early 40s. Regular clothes, basically a white tank top and jeans and regular shoes. People who are homeless don't always look dirty, but my immediate impression based off her mannerisms was that she was just taking a break from a walk or something. It was really hot outside. I live in Los Angeles County.
We're getting a lot of context here.
Yeah, right. So I obliged, and after she handed my lighter back to me, her smile suddenly disappeared, and she gets really it's like she flipped a switch, and the polite smiling woman disappeared.
Oh my gosh. She like hands a lighter back and gets like nasty and snarling like,
Bizarre.
how dare you?
Danny Trejo. It felt like her eyes got dark, like she disassociated. She took a drag and looked at me in the face. Do you know what the fuck is going on too, or no? That's aggressive.
She's like, can I have a cigarette? Lights up. Do you know what the fuck?
Well, I'm going to slowly back up. I had no idea what she meant, so I shook my head. There was that really mean smirk as she said, oh, so you're a dumb bitch too, huh? I swear to fucking God, these fucking slurs moved into our land, took our jobs, no fucking joke, she said dead ass. Okay, no fucking joke, she dead ass said it. You're Trejo, aren't you? Oh, okay, that makes sense now. Okay. Right. I was completely shocked by this because it was a nonsensical question.
It's just horrible.
You think she could have said thank you for the cigarette?
Yeah. Well, she asked politely enough, and she's like, thank you. And then she just decides to get rude and racist.
I thought it was a joke, but I could tell that it just couldn't have been. I feel as if she would have attacked me if I even replied, so I didn't respond at all. She seemed to lose perception of me while she started monologuing. It was getting more and more aggressive.
Oh, God.
Took my job, and you stole my family, and now my cat's dead. Like, Jesus.
You want to take this fucking cigarette, too? It's like, ma'am, I gave that to you.
I don't need your charity. So I managed to slowly walk away while she started raising her voice to say like, really horrible shit to no one. Most of it was racist, and I knew she wasn't talking directly to me, but her eyes would dart back to me. I can't explain it well. I remember getting the goosebumps and immediately felt like running. Just sudden maximum adrenaline. I kept my cool and walked along the sidewalk of the busier road so there would be a witness if I happened to be attacked or something. Thankfully, she didn't follow.
She's just screaming back there, motherfucker!
She just keeps going. This wasn't the only time. I felt like she was either waiting around for me or something because I ran into her multiple times over the entire year of 2019.
Oh, man. I just stopped going around that area.
Well, if you live there, dude.
Move.
2 of them being at the same corner store again. The second time was at McDonald's on the other corner. I was baked as shit, eating that good food. Then all of a sudden, everyone reacts to a woman crying loudly from the booth that is a few tables behind me. Dread. I don't know how, but I just knew I couldn't bring myself to look.
He's like, I can recognize that voice.
A manager approached her, and after asking if the woman was okay, the woman replied with, "Do I look fucking okay to you?
I need a cigarette from Trejo."
It just kind of went off. Manager threatened to call the cops, so the woman got her stuff together, and I just tried to keep my eyes down. As she passed me right before leaving, like literally her hand pushing the door open, she backs up and glares directly at me.
Oh, God.
She goes, Hey, fucking look at me.
Wow, she got a deep voice.
I know. Y'all, this woman, she radiated wrath. Mama didn't raise no bitch, but I'm not fearless. For the first time in a very long time, I was actually terrified to death of another person.
I would be too.
She looked at me and asked for my name. Hi, I'm OP, which is original post. They don't want to put their name in there. Mm-hmm. She responded with, You're full of shit. You are Danny, aren't you? Is that you, Trejo?
I don't know where this fucking voice came from, but this lady's scaring me.
She's a demon.
She's like 300 pounds of solid muscle.
Has like an eye patch.
Well, they described that she's like skinny, really short blonde hair, and she's like...
Could you imagine? It's even worse. It's like, where's that voice coming from?
Yeah, I know. It's all those cigarettes.
I tried to assure her that I was not, in fact, Danny Trejo, and apologized for being unable to help her find him. She then said, Well, next time you see him, tell him to go fuck himself.
Wow.
Flipped the bird and left. The employees checked on me, but I stayed in that McDonald's for an extra hour just to be safe. I had my roommate pick me up and drive me home since I walked out. It was less than a 10-minute walk. Broad daylight. I just couldn't find the strength to do it, and my body felt so weak and shaky anyway.
I'd be afraid to leave, too. She's probably just standing out there. Hey! Can
you imagine? You just like right when you leave, it's like kind of dark, and you just hear like from far away
footprints.
Danny Trejo,
like slowly running footprints.
Like, So I hadn't cried about being afraid of another person in over 10 years. Being so afraid of someone who is potentially my neighbor, someone who might be following me. I saw her passing at least once a week that year until I got too scared to leave my home. We were complete strangers, and I didn't do anything to her except bum her a cigarette. The final time I ran into her was at the corner store again, about 5 or 6 months of running into her. She was wearing a really nice satin or silk pajamas, clean, white fuzzy slippers, and had a cig in her hand.
She just came out of like the Best Western.
Jesus.
Like, I'm fancy.
She saw me walking down the sidewalk, and I didn't have a choice but to look down and pass her. I ended up looking up at her with a kind of a weak smile, like a just passing through. Kind of softer than a hello, coworker, scrunched face, you know? She still looked so evil, and I saw that she watched as I rounded the corner. I fucking bolted, sprinting home less than a few minutes, but it felt like forever. I couldn't bring myself to go to the corner store for months after that, especially by myself. Despite having lived in the area for 3 years and befriending the clerks, my neighborhood isn't even a high crime area, and I never felt unsafe until this happened. Just a note from one afflicted about another. This story is not meant to find actual humor out of those with illness or trauma or addiction or women with deep voices. As absurd as it happened, this woman has an affliction that somehow convinced her that I am an actual enemy in a way that made me feel legitimately threatened. I haven't seen her in like a year, thankfully, and I hope she found some kind of help. Afflicted Claire Underwood lookalike. I'm sorry for whatever you've been through, but I really hope we never meet again.
It's like how the last one ended.
Yeah, that's how they do it in the forum. If we do, I hope that you will be well enough to see that I am an actually 28-year-old female and very, very white. LMAO.
Whoa. Really?
Yeah, so not Danny Trejo.
All right. Well, damn, that lady does not like Danny Trejo. Okay, so let's go back to some more crime. This one took place in a Pizza Hut. There's a Pizza Hut like right next to your home.
Don't mess with the hut.
Well, that someone got killed in the hut.
Yeah, don't mess with the hut.
So this Pizza Hut is in Mount Pleasant, Texas, and it closed around 11 p.m. on May 10th, 1982. After that, something horrible would happen inside.
Ruh-roh.
Relatives of employee Shirley Thompson, who was 24, became concerned when she never arrived back home from her shift. I'm just going to say it, like when my kid grows up and like starts to go to work, like that would be the weirdest, scariest feeling to like never have them come home, and you're like having concern over a child is like nothing else. I'm telling you, it's the craziest thing. They notified law enforcement after finding the pizzeria unlocked and the cash register emptied. Oh, damn. When police arrived, they discovered Thompson, the assistant manager George Landrum, and employee Howard McLaughlin, 25, murdered in the back. Yikes.
That's not marinara.
Jesus. What's up with all this Alfredo all over them? Gross, dude.
It's brain matter.
It was reported that Thompson had been stabbed and beaten with a hammer. Landrum had been shot and beaten with a hammer. And McLaughlin had been shot in the head. Man, a hammer and a gun. That's violent. That's just like an aggressive killing. The investigators closed in on then 28-year-old Calvin Paget, his 15-year-old brother Max Daughtry, and their 13-year-old cousin, and another 12-year-old cousin, Daughtry, was tried as an adult and sentenced to 30 years in prison. Dude, they're like 28, 15, 13, and 12.
Damn.
Can you imagine being 12 and murdering somebody with a hammer and a gun?
Nope.
After confessing, Paget asserted his innocence to the Dallas Morning News in 1986, saying that he was attempting to protect Daughtry. In January 1987, however, Paget once again confessed to killing Landrum and Thomas with Daughtry and their two cousins. Paget was sentenced to life. Damn.
That's crazy, man. Like, I wonder why they would even do that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the cash register was empty. They probably stole like $280.
Yeah, right?
Like, you can buy like so many things.
They could all get bus tickets out of the town.
Right? Just to the next town over. Oh, this one happens in Lululemon. I think my wife wanted me to cover this one.
Isn't that like your favorite store?
Okay, so this takes place in 2011 when an employee was convicted of murdering her coworker at a Lululemon store.
What is a Lululemon store?
I'm not
it
sure.
clothes?
It looks like clothes and shoes. I mean,
I thought it was like Jamba Juice for a minute.
It looks very
but...
bougie. I don't know. It's out of my price range. This was in Bethesda, Maryland, and it's a story that Brittany Norwood wove. Then, the 29-year-old Lululemon employee said she was working a shift with her coworker Jana Murray, who was 30, on March 11th, 2011, when two masked men burst into the yoga store. Oh, it's a yoga store. So we always ask questions and assume, and then we have one sentence left, and all of our questions are answered.
You would only just read it.
The robbers proceeded to brutalize the two women, murdering Murray and leaving Norwood tied up in the back of the bathroom. But that story unraveled quickly.
Uh-oh. Accomplice.
I think it's her, dude. A Washington Post reporter, Dan Morse, described in his book, The Yoga Store Murder, the shocking true account of the Lululemon Athletica killing. Investigators became suspicious when the crime scene failed to match Norwood's explanation of what had truly taken place. Writing for the Washington Post, Morse reported that authorities would come to charge Norwood with murdering her coworker.
Damn.
Shortly before the killing, Murray had discovered that Norwood was shoplifting from the store. Norwood is then said to have murdered her colleague using a variety of different weapons. Just like brought out her bag of tools, including a box cutter, a wrench, a hammer, a knife, and a rope.
Yeah, the worst part is she shoplifted those items too.
Yeah, they were stolen items.
Yeah.
Norwood was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life without the possibility of parole, according to the Washington Post. Murray's family and friends also began a foundation that started a scholarship program in her honor. All right, so this one takes place in McDonald's. And look, I don't know. Denny's and McDonald's, they're just places you'd see these things happening. I'm sorry. A man murdered 21 people in a California McDonald's.
Jesus.
And he told his wife he was going hunting for humans.
He wasn't kidding.
Good God.
I'm going to go hunting for humans. She laughs, he laughs, and then he leaves.
He's like, ha ha, later. And then she's like, well, I feel kind of weird about that one.
Wait till she gets the punchline.
James Huberty went into a San Ysidro, California store and opened fire on July 18th, 1984, killing 21 employees and diners. Good God. At the time, it was the worst single-day mass murder by a lone gunman in the history of the United States. That's crazy. So 84. An article in 1984 from the Washington Post reported, citing police sources, that the gunman told his wife he was going hunting humans before he left the house. I think you're like spot on. He's probably like eating his cereal, like, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to go hunt me some humans.
He just laughs a little too long.
Gets up and like slowly walks out of the house. His wife's like, huh, okay.
He's a little chippy today.
So, like a lot of mass shooters, unfortunately, Huberty had a history of violence. The 41-year-old beat his wife repeatedly. He also shot the family dog in the head after the German Shepherd scratched his landlord's car. Jesus Christ. So, like, obviously his wife's going to be afraid to report anything because if he beats her, like, obviously she's not going to say anything. In the years running up to the 1984 mass murder, Huberty obsessively collected guns and ammunition. He would often spew paranoia about the U.S. government and the Cold War and expressed a strong interest in survivalism.
America.
He was fired from his job as a security guard a week before the shooting. So, I mean, it sounds like his life just kind of fell apart from being a weirdo.
It's really hard to have a security guard position.
His attack lasted for just over an hour and 20 minutes, ending when a police sniper shot and killed the gunman. Good God. In the wake of the shooting, the McDonald's was torn down and converted into a memorial for the victims.
Sad, man.
That's crazy. Well, Jesus Christ. Okay. I mean, again, that's just kind of scary because you think about it, like anyone can do this. Like you go into a restaurant, you sit down, you have a meal, and then someone loses their shit and decides, I'm going to go hunt for some humans today, guns down the entire store.
Human hunting season.
The fucking world we live in.
Oh my God.
There's that movie, though, called The Hunt, and the whole premise is
I've seen it,
rich people hunt the poor people. Okay, so Who else are we not going to meet, Cleet?
I was almost kidnapped in broad daylight, surrounded by people. This took place around the corner from my house when I was about 7 to 10 years old. There was a food place around the corner, and I'd run around to get their milkshakes every now and then. One day, my parents left to go out somewhere just as the sun was about to set. I called my mom to tell her I'd be leaving around the corner, and she said it was fine. The previous day, I had gotten a deep bruise on my arm from school, and I was wearing a t-shirt that day as it was just turning summer. I didn't know how to tie my shoelaces back then, so I just thought I'd leave them untied for the moment.
That's a tripping hazard.
Reminds me when I was a kid before I could tie my shoes. Like, screw it.
The laces are just flipping you in the ankles.
I was walking around the corner when a tall, tired-looking man in his late 40s to late 50s came up to me and asked to tie my laces.
What the fuck is up with people getting in other people's business? Spit your gum out. Tie your laces.
Let me tie them laces.
Get off my sidewalk, kid. Like, mind your own goddamn business. It's a kid who has untied laces. Like, piss off.
Well, he's probably a creep. I assumed he was Indian from what I could tell at the time. He spoke with an accent, and I think maybe English wasn't his first language. I thought it was strange, but I let him, not knowing any better. After he was finished, he stared at me for a moment. He looked at the bruise on my arm, grabbed my arm, and examined it. "Oh no, you need a bandage. Come with me, and we will find your parents." Hearing this, I became uncomfortable. My shy, younger self mumbled, "It's fine." He pulled out his phone and brought up a picture of his son while still grabbing onto me. I was becoming increasingly freaked out, especially because I was very introverted when I was young. "This is my son. You can trust me," he said. At that point, I knew something didn't feel right. I had a feeling that I had to leave as soon as possible.
And you followed that feeling.
Yeah. He was standing in the direction of my house, blocking the way, so running home wasn't an option. I also was smart enough not to show him where I lived. A few people were walking past without intervening. My parents never taught me stranger danger, so all I could do was hope someone intervened. Teach your kids stranger danger, you gotta do it.
It's like that. My wife showed me a funny video. It's like this mom that's like talking to her kid, and she's like, "So what happens if you're at school or anywhere out in public and someone walks up and says, 'Hey, I'm your mom's friend. You got to come with me.' Like, what do you say?" And the kid's like, "You're a liar. My mom has no friends." She's like, "Well, there you go."
A family walked by, going into their house from behind where the man was holding me by the arm. What makes me angry to this day is that nobody intervened, not even the family walking behind me. I kept repeating, "It's fine. Really, it's fine," over and over, but no one spoke up. My heart was beating fast. I didn't know what to do. I pulled my arm away and started walking to the food place as it was my only option. I didn't look behind me. I just kept walking. When I got to the food place, which took about 5 minutes, I ordered my milkshake and waited for it to be made. I was almost in tears, barely holding it together. The man had followed me all the way to the small food place. He was standing at the open entrance, staring at me.
This is insane, dude.
Like he got bad intentions. I really felt that I was about to be kidnapped. My heart was racing, I was sweating, and I was in shock. I did my best to hide my trembling voice when giving the cashier a "thank you" and reluctantly taking my milkshake. "Hey, OP," a voice behind me said. I turned around to see my neighbor. She was a woman in her 60s and was very nice from our select few interactions. I didn't know her that well, but my parents did. She whispered to me, "Is that man following you? Do you want me to walk you to your home?" Looking back now, she quite possibly saved me from being kidnapped, even saved my life. The man was scared off at this point and walked away. My neighbor walked me home and asked me a lot of questions. I answered slowly, trying to gather my thoughts and catch my breath.
Man, that's good that the neighbor was there, because that doesn't always work out in that way.
Seriously. As we were nearly at my house, my neighbor asked if she could come in with me to tell my parents. I said no, as I was in shock, and I especially did not want my parents to find out, fearing they would really get mad at me, which is like total kid logic there.
Yeah, absolutely.
My parents were home at that point and greeted me as I came inside. I said, "Hello," quietly and rushed back to my room. I sat in my bed and recounted what had happened over and over. Should I tell my parents? Would the neighbor tell my parents anyway? I hesitated for a while, then went up to my mom's room while she was watching TV. I asked if I could tell her something, and she turned the TV off. I was halfway through explaining what happened when I broke down in tears.
God, is the parent, if my kid ever said that, I'd be like, who was he? What did he look like? I'm going to go find this prick.
I agree. She got very mad, and I immediately thought telling her was a bad idea. She rushed me downstairs to where my dad and my 3 brothers were watching a movie together. My mom explained what happened, and everyone got really mad. My dad was shouting at me, frantically asking questions.
Good God.
After answering, I went to my room and sobbed in my bed before falling asleep. I found out later my parents went to the police station. My parents explained later that they weren't mad at me. They were mad at my attempted kidnapper. The situation could have been handled a bit better by everyone looking back. I had described to my dad what he looked like, and I went to the police station to give a statement that next day. My neighbor also made a statement. My mom had a therapist come to the house for the day to find out if I had suffered anything that would cause me trauma. Luckily, it didn't, but I was afraid to leave my house alone for months. I will always remember that day. They never caught the guy. I used to tell myself maybe he was worried that a 7 to 10-year-old was walking without parents and wasn't causing any harm. Looking back, my opinions have changed. I'd like to hear what you all think. To the weird guy who tried to kidnap me, let's not meet again. So
that could have ended really bad. Like, obviously, it's not a good situation by any means, but you know how many people... You know how many
it's too bad he didn't get caught.
Yeah, you know how many kids get kidnapped and shit like that?
Oh, yeah. It's a scary world.
Well, shit, those are some crazy stories. So, I mean, obviously, stranger danger. Everyone teach your kids stranger danger. They don't get in cars. No matter how many cute puppies they claim they have or candy.
Did you have a password growing up?
No.
Like, when I was a kid, our password was, what was it? I can't remember what it was. What's the spoonful of sugar lady? What's her name? Spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. Mary Poppins? I think that was it. So, like, if my parents were in the hospital and someone had to pick me up, I had to ask what a password was, and it was Mary Poppins.
Oh, wow.
And that's, like, how I would know if a stranger was legitimate or not. So
interesting. So, like, you would just tell everybody who would be coming to pick you up that Mary Poppins was the word?
So, like, if someone came with a van, open it up, Cleet, get in.
What's the password? Get the fuck in. Nope.
I got some sugar. Good enough.
Okay. I got candy. Well, there's sugar in
we'll make
candy.
the medicine go down, so theoretically, here I go.
Alrighty then. Let's get... We're like joking about kidnapping. That's cool.
Yeah. So these episodes were a little bit unique tonight, so let us know if you liked it. And as always, thank you for entering the abyss.
Until next time.